everyone, I'm Darkest Dawn and welcome back to the renovation of Downtown's House of Fallen Trees. This is the last part of the two-part lot makeover that focuses on the interiors. My favorite! If you missed the first part where I renovated the exterior, I will put a little link in the corner, hopefully. So I'm not going to get into all of the backstory of the inhabitants of the House of Fallen Trees, the Trico vampires, because I did that in the first video, so please go and watch that for more information. But the basic gist is, the House of Fallen Trees is creepy, the Trico vampire clan lives here, and it's also a school for teen vamps. So let's get started. I began with fixing the basement, making it one level instead of four. Like I said in the previous video, I really don't like playing in basements because it's really hard to get the in-game camera in there and really see what's going on, especially this basement. It's just way too deep to see anything the Sims are doing down there. However, I did really like this basement, well, the idea of the deep basement anyway, because it kind of reminds me of every horror movie you've ever seen where you travel down long winding stairs to get to the evil that lurks below. But this one was just far too impractical, so in the end I had to make it one story. And you'll see in the end I end up turning it into more of a vampire catacomb where all 8 of the vamps sleep. So again, I like to jump around when I'm decorating. You'll see that a lot in this video. Like I started in the basement and now I'm on the first floor, but I haven't finished the basement yet, so yeah. After the renovation of the House of Fallen Trees, it now has an ample open floor living room, an octagonal shaped dining room, a galley style kitchen, 5 bathrooms, 1 enormous primary suite, plus 5 other bedrooms that have been converted into different rooms, such as an art room, an extra sitting room, a music room, an entomology room, a nursery, an attic conversion that has become the Tricou Academy, and a vampire catacomb basement. And at the end of the video, I'll have top-down views of the interior so you can see exactly what everything looks like and where everything is. The first floor I sectioned off into 4 main areas: the living room, dining room, kitchen, and bathroom. The kitchen ends up being small compared to how I usually build them. And I say that because my favorite room to decorate is the kitchen. So I usually like to make big kitchens with lots of counters and islands and tons of clutter. But because vampires live here, they don't use the kitchen much. I mean, I guess for their human friends when they stop by, but that's really it. So they basically have a plain galley style kitchen with not a lot of deco or clutter. Instead of a stove, I'm using this cool cooking fireplace by Nixed Sims that I believe is a conversion from the Sims Medieval game. It looks really cool. The dining room, I figure they will use more. Maybe when they have vampire council meetings or something, I don't know. But also just to sit down and drink their plasma juice, which grows in their greenhouse outside. Jennacor and John Smith, they try to teach the young vamps not to drink from humans and use plasma instead, but you know, they don't listen. The living room is more of a gathering area for the family, and I did not put a television anywhere on the lot. I don't think vampires care too much about TV, or maybe it's just too modern for Smith and Jen at least. You know, maybe the grandkids will have a TV in their homes, or the teens when they move out and age up and move out, they'll get a television. But I just didn't put one here. I didn't think it was very practical. And the bathroom is just a regular powder room, and from here, there are stairs that lead up to the second floor and stairs leading down to the basement. And I didn't change any of the placement of the stairs in the renovation. Here's the fun part, the catacombs. I used Buggy Boo's Nooks and Niches set, as well as add-ons made by other creators to house the coffins. The arched columns were the reference for the color scheme I went with. It's this red-brown brick, and I recolored all of the nooks and niches to the same color. All of the teens sleep in the niche areas, while Jennifer and Smith sleep in the raised platform in the middle. Then I go on to decorate with urns and effigies. There's dead ivy on the walls, and I added statue protectors and gargoyles. I also add bats flying around. The whole house has bats flying around, actually. And these are from Tricous. I believe they cloned a ceiling fan, so the bats actually move and go around in circles. I absolutely adore it. Then I put in a stone floor and ceiling. Now, there is a part where I was decorating the basement, and I thought I was recording, but I wasn't. And I really apologize for that. Basically, it was of me decorating the first effigy in between the nooks, which I then go on and copy to the other sections. So I do have that footage of me copying them to the other sections. And then it was also another part that didn't get recorded was where I was decorating underneath the stairs, and I just stuck some skeletons and some skulls down there in between the like the bars of the stairs. And I was just thinking maybe it was, it was the bones of some of their victims or their enemies. And again, like I said in the last video, Tate was totally my inspiration for the effigies. He's amazing. And I tried to use candles instead of electricity as much as possible. There's only candles in the basement, but upstairs I use candle-looking electronic sconces, just so I can keep up with the theme of this being a super old house, built before there was electricity, but it was updated later on to include electricity. And again, like I said in the last video, I said I wasn't going to repeat myself, didn't I? Anyways, I'm using conversions from the Sims 4 Vampire Pack by Calamero78 and Nutty all throughout this build. And I'll put the links below to their Tumblrs so you guys can download their stuff too. Since all of the vampires sleep here in the catacombs, I did not make traditional bedrooms for them. There's one primary suite on the second floor with a double bed, but that's there mainly for woohoo purposes. Yes, I'm hoping Jennifer and Smith have more babies. Oh, but that brings me to something very important. John Smith and Jennifer are adults in my game, not elders, like they appear in the regular game. And the reason for this is because I figure if they're vampires, they weren't sired as elders. And since vampires stop aging at adult, Jennifer and Smith are still adults. So after I resurrected them, I aged them down with the Sim Blender. So it is possible for them to have children if they want to. And also I'm using various mods by Mitch the Tree for my vampires. I'll put a link below to their various vampire mods if you want to check that out for yourself. I used several of their mods, including vampire babies. And the bottle for the babies has blood in it instead of milk. It's so clever. And I know that there's also a mod that lets vampires be immune to sunlight. But I didn't want to use that because I like the idea that they have to live in the shadows. Like, there has to be a consequence for them living forever. But I do use the mod by EpiSims that lets vampires use cologne as a sunblock. So they can still go out in the daytime, but only if they spray on cologne. And it only lasts as long as the cologne does. So if you run out of sunblock while you're out in the sun, you're gonna die. So while I was talking, there was a little bit of the first floor being decorated. We're back in the basement again, but we'll be back on this first floor in a second. And again, the color palette for decorating the interiors here was black, white, red, gold, and a little bit of blue. The blue is mainly from the fleur-de-lis recolors that came with the castle set from the Sims 2 store. The fleur-de-lis is the Trico's crest, so I tried to use it wherever I could. I was thinking about recoloring the crest to red, white, and gold, but I'm too lazy to do that. So for now, I'll just stick with the blue. It's fine. But what I really wanted to point out is that I use collection folders religiously when I build or decorate. I'm not even kidding. I would be absolutely lost without them. I have way too much custom content, and if I didn't use the collection folders, it would take me double the time it takes me to build. Every piece of CC I download gets placed into some kind of collection folder so I can find it easy. The problem, of course, is that I have too many collection folders. But if you look closely enough in the video, you'll see that I'm primarily using my vampire collection folder, and then I'll use like the cemetery collection folder, then the witches collection folder, etc. to find what I'm looking for. Then I go through each category, like wall hanging, sculptures, etc., to find the little bits of clutter that might not fit in the main collection folders that I'm using. So yeah, my basic method of decorating is download stuff, put stuff in collection folders, use collection folders and build, profit. I also wanted to add that if you want your own version of the Trico family without having to resurrect them and all that jazz, Sun Raider Sims has them and Raynell Niangia up on their site for download. Again, all the links I'm referring to will be in the description down below. The only thing is that the Tricos are not related to the Downtown teens naturally, but it's a great option if you don't want to go through the whole bother of resurrecting them. And they're packaged as a subhood instead of a lot, so it's super safe for your game, and it won't cause corruption that way. And I could maybe do a video if anyone is interested in that, of how I resurrected them, the Tricos and Raynell Niangia, because again, I couldn't do it through the teens the way everyone says you can. I have no idea why. It's not terribly hard to resurrect them, it's just annoying. So if anybody is interested in something like that, just let me know. And a big thank you to everyone that responded about the speed of the speed build. Everyone said the speed was okay, so this video is the same speed as the first one. I was so surprised to get so many comments, so thank you. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So decor wise, my aesthetic was really just Victorian faded vampire gothic glamour. Is that a style? But yeah, I used, of course, the vampire pack conversions as well as older custom content like Adele's Victorian Gothic set from Mod The Sims, and some conversions from Midnight Hollow and the like. All of the Tricos are dressed like old-timey vampires, and Smith looks like he's Louis from Interview with the Vampire, if anybody remembers that movie. I had way too much fun on their makeovers. It was very cool to make over vampires, because I've never done that before. And then I also added a little Addams Family vibes with weird statues and skulls and clutter and urns and other strange things. There's lots of taxidermy, which, you know, we do not condone, but it's vintage, so I don't know, they're already dead. And I gave them pets. There's an aquarium on the 3rd floor, I think, and a raven, which I believe was made by Amaral. I mentioned in the last video that I roll for their sub-hobbies. So say they have nature as their one true hobby, I will then roll from subcategories that deal with nature to find out which one is actually their hobby. So Fire Princess from Let's Play with Fire came up with this idea, and also Cindy from Pleasant Sims does this as well. So I have hobby objects for each member of the Trico family in the house where I can fit them. Jenna Core's hobby is nature, and her sub-hobby is entomology. So she has her own bug room where she displays her bugs. Smith's hobby is arts and crafts, and his sub-hobby is painting, which I totally stole from Skell, by the way. So he has his own art room, which also doubles as an art instruction room for the students. Following that, Kestrel's hobby is also arts and crafts. Oh, and by the way, I separate arts and crafts So if arts and crafts is their one true hobby, I pick or roll either art or crafting, and then I pick their sub hobby from that. So Smith picked art, so he paints, and Kestrel, she rolled art also as her hobby, and then her sub hobby is the drafting table. So that's why there's a drafting table in the art room. Lauren's hobby was sports, and he rolled basketball as a sub hobby, so that's why there's a basketball court in the backyard. Patrick's hobby is science, and his sub hobby is aliens. So there's a telescope on one of the balconies. Hopefully he'll be abducted. So for Orion, Swan, and Tiav, I'm saying Tiav. I don't know how you really pronounce it, but it's Tiav. They rolled dumb stuff that I couldn't or wouldn't include. So Orion's hobby is nature, and his sub is fishing. And I didn't want to put a pond on the lot, so he has to go somewhere else to fish. But, it'll be fun to collect the fish that he catches and then hang them on the wall, because, he can't eat them because he's a vampire. So I'm okay with him collecting fish, but he's got to go someplace else. Swan has sports / kicky bag as her hobby. So, I can't, what am I going to do with that? I can't decorate around kicky bag. Tiav has music and dance, which he rolled dance, and fire dance is his dancing one true hobby, which is very cool. But again, you can't decorate around fire dancing. So that's why certain rooms have certain things in them. Okay, so now we're at the fun part, the Tricou Academy in the attic. I'm using some logical school system here with some updated messages from Alfred Askew. And a little while back, you saw Jennicor enrolling the kids into school using their pictures, the ones with the little question marks. That's how you enroll them in the school. And Smith and Jen's grandchildren are also enrolled, Vadon and Frakorith. So I'm setting this up so that the teens will not go to regular school. So the bus won't come to pick them up or anything. Because ideally they'd be asleep in their coffins during regular school time. Jennicor is set up as a teacher, and she'll help them with their assignments and such. The extra room that I made in the back was for Jennicor as like a headmistress's office. So the Trico teens shouldn't interact with any of the other teens in the super mega uberhood. But watch, some dummy is gonna bring one home, and the vampire is gonna hiss off the lot because of the sun. I was watching Legacies when I was decorating this, so yeah. I only watched season 1. Okay, so Hope seems a bit too OP for me, but that's why I stopped watching the originals in the first place, because they're all too ridiculously strong and contrived, but oh well. It seems like a decent show, but I don't think I'll watch it anymore. But it gave me some great ideas of how to set up this classroom. Also, of course, my Trico teens, they all have the cute little uniforms. I love it so much. I'm just such a nerd about the uniforms. I just think they're adorable. I guess I should talk about the curtains too. I used the heavy drapes from the vampire conversions to cover every window, because of course the vampires do not want any sunlight coming in. And I just thought it really added to the vampire gothic look as well. The Tricou Academy also has skill building items like the chess table, a microscope, and lots of books to do research with. Downstairs is a little sitting room where I have an old phonograph where the kids can listen to music and hang out. And these are the bathrooms. The bathrooms are all exactly the same, so they're pretty boring, but there's a lot of them. Again, there's supposed to be an issue with the lighting on this lot, but I still don't see it. I heard that while you're playing, the lights are supposed to flicker sometimes too. So maybe I just need to play the lot and see if there's some weird darkness in some places. I'm actually hoping that there is some weird lighting, because I want to see the scary. Someone on Tumblr said that the lot looks evil, and I'm all, thank you. It made me very proud. Like, this is the house that all the kids go to on spooky day and dare each other to ring the doorbell. But I'm actually making a much spookier house for the Reapers. I'm basing it off of the Haunted Mansion, the outside anyway, from Disneyland, since it fits into the whole New Orleans aesthetic. So the Vampire Quarter is just going to be the place where you do not want your car to break down. I really like this floor. It's a Sims 4 conversion. And I like how this whole gray, black, red turned out. I think it looks really cool. So since I didn't make separate bedrooms, I wasn't really sure what to do with some of the rooms. This room ends up being the sitting room with the phonograph in it. I just, I don't know what vampires do with their time besides plotting against the werewolves or witches or whatever. So here's some rooms where they can do that. I guess I just watch too many supernatural TV shows. This is the woohoo room. I thought vampires could woohoo in the coffins, but I wasn't too sure about that, so I just made them a bedroom. 16 years I've been playing this game, and I have no idea if they can woohoo in a coffin or not. I cut out all of the part where I'm scrolling endlessly through the amounts of bedding to pick whichever one I end up picking. But what I usually do is, if I find one I like, I, quote unquote buy it. And then if I find another, I buy that one, etc., etc. So in the end, I'll just keep hitting the back button to see between the ones that I picked that I like, and then I'll pick one from there. So I left all that part out because that was a long time. I don't really know an easier way to do it since I literally have 1,000 bedding recolors. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's me. This is the music room. I think by now I had figured out which room would be which. So after that, it's just adding the finishing touches like the clutter and such. I moved the organ up here, and I think this organ is actually converted by Delon Arial. I'm probably saying their name wrong. I'm so sorry. None of the Sims in this house have a music-based hobby, but I figure music lessons are always part of the curriculum for Victorian students. I guess. I have no idea. Yeah, so they can play the organ, the violin, and they can sing. No rock guitars for the Trico teens. And then I finish it off with a dead animal on the ground. Lovely. This is what I'm talking about, adding the finishing touches. From here, I think I'm flip-flopping between all of the rooms, adding tables and deco and wall paintings and such. Pretty soon we'll get to go to the bug room, which was a lot of fun to do, and I stay on that a little bit longer than what I'm doing right now. And here's one of many pictures of Vlad from The Sims 4. He's all over the place. In the previous video I said that I headcanon that Vlad was the original vampire that sired John Smith, and something mysteriously happened to him. But whatever did happen, Smith seems to be mourning him and must have held him in high regard because he has images of Vlad everywhere. I also used images of the other vamps in the set in the house. I don't know who these vamps are, but I figure they're part of the original vampire clan that Smith belonged to. So a quick little backstory for the Tricos. I headcanon that Smith sired the 2 adult male Tricos that are married to his daughters, Kiernan and Kavornan. Oh, and I also made Kiernan and Kavornan brothers, because why? Who knows? And the 3 of them traveled the world. Smith came across Jennicor, who's an elf. In case you didn't know, Jennicor has elf ears. They fell in love. They wanted to get married. Jennicor's elf family said, hell no, you're not marrying a vampire. Jennicor said the only way that they could be together is to make her into a vampire. So he did, and they ran away together. They eventually had their 2 daughters, Nilicet and Janelle, and those 2 daughters married the 2 brothers and had babies. The end. At least that's the short version anyways. This is the part where I'm just going through the wall hanging section and finding paintings and such to hang on the walls. I eventually would like to swap some of the wall hangings with actual paintings of the Tricos, maybe throughout the years, like you would have some photos in old-timey clothes. Oh, like What We Do in the Shadows. Oh my goodness, I love What We Do in the Shadows. It's such a great show. I feel like this whole video has just become me talking about a lot of vampire TV and movies. But What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious. You guys should really watch it. But it would be great if like the Tricos had like a lackey / servant like Guillermo. But I don't think I could like take another sim on this lot. It's already just way too many sims. I'm already afraid that they're all gonna die when I start playing them, because I don't know how to take care of vampires. I don't know what to do. I think I mentioned before that I unrelated the Trico teens. There's 4 boys and 2 girls, and I use ACR, which is Autonomous Casual Romance, for those of you who don't know what that is. It's a mod that deals with romance and dating and woohooing and stuff like that. And with that, I randomized the teens' gender preferences. 2 of the boys, I think it's Lauren and Orion maybe, are gay, and the rest of the teens are straight. And I believe Vadon and Forkorith randomized as straight as well. But they're all pleasure sims, so they're all probably going to be attracted to each other. So get ready for like Riverdale levels of drama in this poor house. And one of my rules is that only Smith can sire more vampires because he's the head of the vampire clan. Another one of the rules is that all of the vampires that are sired under Smith will have the Trico last name. Originally, I had Raynell become a vampire, but I think I'm going to change her back to human because I really like my Raynell the Vampire Slayer theory. So I think I'm going to stick with that. Here's the bug room. Yay! I really had fun with this. Really, one of my favorite things to do when decorating is cluttering it all up. I really just want the rooms to look lived in. And yes, Jennifer is an elf, but maybe looking at all the bugs under glass reminds her of home. I don't know. So I used the war table from The Sims Medieval. Like she's using the strategy map as paper to clean her dead things before she mounts them. I think this room is cute and creepy. Perfect for the Tricos. And the floor has all of the blood and guts from whatever thing she's ripping apart. And like, I have a thing for butterflies, so I have a lot of butterfly CC. And I didn't realize how much I had until I did this build though. So I just figured Jennifer loves butterflies as much as I do. And she has them all over her bug room. And getting back to Jennifer being an elf, I'm using Midge the Tree's fairy mod. And so in my opinion, there's a difference between fairies and elves, right? Fairies are tiny and they have wings and they fly around. Elves are the same height as humans and they don't have wings and they don't fly, but they have the same powers as fairies. So in my hood, the Summer Dreams and Jennifer are elves, not fairies. They have all the same powers and use the same mods as the fairy mod, but I didn't give them the wings and I don't have them hover when they walk. And because Jen is an elf, her kids are half elves and the grandkids are a quarter elf, even though they're all vampires. So Nilicet, Janelle, Vadon, and Forkorith all have fairy mod powers and the vampire mod powers. But Smith, Kavornan, and Kiernan do not. They're just pure vampires. Midge the Tree's mods for the supernaturals are a must-have, if you ask me. As well as their other mods that they have for just everyday gameplay. I'll leave a link below, of course, like I always do. But the mods are great because you can mix and match to whatever gameplay style suits you, and it just helps so much with creating your own lore for your Sims. And I love the name Midge, by the way. I love old-timey names. We're at the last bit of clutter now, adding the finishing touches. More candles, rugs, and whatnot. Gosh, I have a lot of rugs and recolors of the rugs. I ended up using some body shop photos of the Tricos and hanging those on the first floor. But I'm not too sure if I like those. I might change them into something else. I'm not too sure. And I didn't talk about the nursery at all. It's so creepy. It's just waiting for the little baby vamp to be born. We're almost done, y'all. I've been talking for like forever. And you're still here. You're awesome. I hope you like how the interior turned out. I'm very happy with it. It's very much the look I was going for, so I'm so happy. Thank you to all of the amazing CC creators whose stuff I used in the reno, and you know, to all of the other simmers out there that inspire me with your pictures and your videos. Thank you guys so much. It's really helped me, and this was so much fun to do, and I hope to keep doing it. So that's about it for the video. The screenshots are about to start. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any tips on the care and feeding of vampire Sims, please leave me a comment down below. I would love the advice. I hope you liked the video. And if you did, please leave a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and ring the bell so you won't miss any of my videos. I'll see you in the next one. Later.